Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Merry Christmas.
We're kind of short. I'll do
Again.
Again.
We turned the lights on for you this time, though.
Yeah, I noticed. It's very festive. I appreciate it.
We're just getting ready for Christmas in July. I'm excited.
Because it's 80 degrees here today.
It is 80 degrees in Birmingham, Alabama today.
Welcome to Literally Wasted. It is February.
Sorry.
It is what did you just do? Okay.
Hi.
And this is our only book discussion of the month. This is not book discussion number 2. You didn't miss anything. We're here to talk about the entirety of T.J. Klune's The House on the Cerulean Sea.
Yes.
All right, start singing because that list is growing.
Here we go. Who's here?
All right. Special song. Okay, hold on. Hi, giggles Mariah, Mariah again, Spare and giggles again. Hi, Kristen and Tammy and Kristen and giggles and Kristen and Alex and Natalie. Hi, Kira, Mariah and Cindy and Jeff and Sean and Stacey Nicole. Hi, Dan and Willa and Brandy and well, 2 different Brandys though. Randa, Victoria, Martin, Adrienne, Kent, Bobby, Rebecca, Dan, Tim, Julie, Jennifer, Adrian, Kira, Lisa, Kelly, Mariah, Cindy, Jody, Brandy, Giggles, Tim, Kira, Martin, Nicole, Sean, Jennifer, Bobby, Adam, Martin, Tara, Rachel, Tammy, Missy, Rick, Melissa, and happy birthday, Leanne.
Happy birthday, Leanne.
Jody.
Well, that was quite the song. So what happens is like when we're like in like almost ready to go mode, there's people that get on YouTube early and they start chatting with each other. So that's why you heard Giggles a bunch, because Giggles and Mariah were just chatting before the live stream. I saw y'all. Hey, but we have a fun.
You're in Australia?
Who's in Australia?
Marianne?
What? Hey, flush a toilet and record it. Because
does it go the other way? Also, you're literally surrounded. You're like on like the biggest island.
That's awesome.
Ever.
Thanks for just jumping in.
Yeah, normally Alabamian, but in Australia for today.
Awesome.
But we have a fun book to talk about today. What a book.
A book.
What a book. I don't know. Let's just dive into this one because we only, this is our only live discussion for this one. We're gonna see how it goes. I think this is a good one to do this with.
Do you want to start?
Do I want to start?
Sure.
Okay, fine. I love this book. I don't know how else to put it. This book, Christy had been saying good things about it for like ever, and she gifted it to literally everybody we know. And I never read it, and then finally. She's like, all right, we're putting it in the book poll for literally. I was like, okay, fine. And I started it, and I knew that it was good, but this was so good. This was so good, and it made me feel good. And I think literally everybody needs to read this book. Everybody on the planet, everybody on other planets need to read this book. And I know that we had some people that were like, I didn't think I would like this book, but I did. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did. I was like, I think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be a nice, light read. Oh, this book was good. This book was so good. And that's all I'm going to say about it for now.
Well, he finished it in the middle of the night, like 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
And then he woke me up in the morning or when I was actually awake. What did you say? It was something like, I don't cry at books.
I don't cry at books.
That's not...
You don't cry.
Paraphrasing.
You're too dehydrated.
But if I was going to... This would have been the one.
Yeah.
Or something like along those lines. He didn't cry, but like
it got me. It got me.
Put Bobby's comment up. That's
I'm
that's
crying
solid.
enough for both of us.
This one?
Yeah.
It's the
most wholesome story that has the Antichrist character.
Yeah, I think that this book, in a lot of ways, like, I think in general, it's a good book, but like, kind of at the stage in my life where we've got a kid on the way. And like this is a book about like kids and like kids who are different and acceptance and like just loving people and like believing in them, and like the way that Linus and Arthur deal with the kids and they interact with them is just so inspirational, and it's like that's kind of how I wish I was when talking to people. Like I don't know, it's just
I read half of the book like this so that I could see through my tears. Fine. I'm just gonna.
yeah. Somebody else can go because I'll just gush, and we can all gush together.
I mean, I like the book. It was just as delightful the second time around. I listened to the audiobook, and the audiobook is fantastic. A couple of you guys were saying that. It's so good.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that most of you liked it.
So I was a little nervous because I felt like it had been like, so when Christy gave it to me for Christmas, she was like, "You're going to love this book." And I had so many people tell me, "You're going to love this book." And I was like, well, dang it, y'all. Like, it's even in the book. Like, let's keep expectations low so I don't come out with high disappointments. But no, I just hug it.
And you have an autographed copy now.
I
with
do.
your
I'm
name.
so thankful. Tim said earlier, did anyone else read it in Talia's voice? I read the whole book in Talia's voice.
So did I.
Except for, which we can get to later, but first, Linus ended up later on becoming Rhys Darby in my head. But just because something about him is so like delightfully charming and likable and like, anyways. I'm so glad to have read this book and also to have read it right now. Yeah, no, I think like I think everyone should read it. I think everyone should read this book.
So I put Giggle's comment up there where she said she was a little frustrated, and we can because there's some things that I felt also about
Oh
the
no,
book.
I will say like from the beginning, like as the moment he gets his task, I was like, oh, okay. So I mean, I immediately knew what the destination was going to be, and there were definitely like predictable moments in it. But even though I knew guessed the destination right away and was right, I still 100% enjoyed every single step of the journey.
Yeah,
and I'm just gonna hug it and quit talking because I don't want to cry. It made
there
me
were
cry
definitely
a lot.
there were definitely some pacing thing. You know, some places where I thought the pacing was a little weird and slow, and there was, well, you know, this is. Sorry, I'm getting into it a little bit, but like this is, I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I could have done without the epilogue. Like I thought that like
I
could
needed it because I just wanted more.
I feel like it could have ended on "Don't you wish you were here," and I would have just been like,
black.
Although that did punch me. But you know what? I can explain away every single weak point or crack and flaw in it for me. I could do it with a metaphor that's directly applicable and from the book, or I could just say, honestly, it made me feel so much that like, I don't care. I didn't care about any weak point.
I didn't mind the epilogue, but I felt like ending it with that would have just been like, sorry, Lucas, I didn't mean to.
Oh, you're fine.
Give you
I'm here for the ride, man. I'm not
turn.
going anywhere till 8:30. I really enjoyed it. I would definitely say it's probably, I'd have to look at all of the books that we've read in the club, but it's probably up in like a top 10 for me, especially when in like I'd put it near the top of like the feel good kind of sci-fis that we've read. I did have a couple like I did not cry. But the audiobook, I will say, if you read this the first time and you want to revisit it in the future, just make a mental note right now that everyone is saying listen to the audiobook because it is one of the best audiobooks that I have listened to. And Chauncey will melt you that much more because he's got this lisp and he's like, oh, he's just super cute. This story, I kind of equated it to what could have happened if Professor X and Magneto just got over their frustrations and got together and had this happy little family of, super mutants. Not that these are mutants, but in the X-Men world.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like, okay, if they could have just gotten over themselves and realized that they loved each other, maybe that could have worked.
Right.
But yeah, I had it. We can kind of get into it in the future, but yes, I would highly recommend this book to anyone. I even posted it in my work Yammer book club area, and I was like, here's a great read for you if you want, a charming story with charming characters. And
I think it might be one of my new favorite books. Like, not of book club,
this
just
books period.
of all time.
Well, I know you gave it to my mom to read, and so I texted my mom after I finished, and I just said, "Wow, everybody should read this book." And she texted me back like, "This is one of my all-time favorite books." And she's read a lot of
Hello,
books,
buddy.
Yeah.
so it's just. And Chauncey,
Chauncey's such a good character.
He's my favorite character. Like, no,
I think
no contest.
it is just so adorably wholesome. His dream to be a bellhop. It's just like,
How am I supposed to talk about this book for 48 more minutes and not cry? What kind of garbage expectation?
You can cry. It's fine.
I didn't wear eyeliner tonight because I knew.
Smart.
I did.
Just, I knew. Did the makeup a little differently? Like, whatever.
His just,
Hey, buddy.
it's just so adorably innocent. And it was just like, I don't know.
Sorry, that's our cat sneezing. If you heard that.
That sounds like a
has-
squeaky toy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he has. Bless you, buddy.
And Huey sneezes like 10 times
He's
in a
like,
row. Okay.
All right,
yeah.
so we're done, right? We're all
Yep,
good.
there we go.
Let's go. Thanks, guys. Good.
5 out of
good
5.
chat.
Okay.
Let's all start rating Hyperion because it will take us that long to read
Well,
the
we'll
book.
get through there.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Alex, that is a great question
Oh, that would
because
make a
when
great
I
movie.
got
Let's
to the
do-
end, I was like, I would totally, but like at the same time, it's so perfect in my head, like reading it, and I like heard all the voices the way that I want to, like, and I mean, I know that's like a thing when anytime we read anything, but like it's so confusing to read your comments right now, also, honestly, because I keep seeing my name and then I'm like, oh no, that's not me. Which I was telling Lucas, I was like, this has never happened to me before because I've never ever watched a TV show, seen a movie, or read a book with a character that had my name. And it was very weird to see my name in print over and over and over again. I've only ever met one other person.
It's like when we read Good Omens and Adam was the Antichrist.
Was that? I feel like you have to read Adam a lot, right? Like he was kind of, it was like the first name, right?
Yeah.
Name one.
Okay.
That's a good one, Dan. It was a good moment. It was a good moment. Don't make Talia cry though.
I will say this one didn't, I never full out sobbed, but what happened was about it got to a certain point where every like 2.5 pages, some line would happen that would make me go either like this or like this or like this. And eventually, if you do that every 2.5 to 3 pages, it just starts, it's just a constant stream.
It's a good workout for your arm.
See, I feel like I didn't have
So just
those
like-
kind of reactions to the book. My reactions, if we're making just noises, were more along the lines of like,
Oh, no, my like is this.
I was just laying in bed, just
Constantly.
like kind of half smiling to myself, just being like, this is just too adorable.
There are so many lines that I think out of context, I would be like, this is just cheese, okay? But within this story, and I was so captivated by the characters that it just, yeah, just, I don't even like hugging people, but yeah, I mean, maybe like from now on, every time someone like tries to give me a hug, I just sneak a copy of this in their bag or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a really good example of like the best of humanity. I think like the way that humanity should act, the way that humanity should treat each other. Like I think it's just like a really good like snapshot of all of the things, all of the sort of like hopes and dreams for humanity.
Oh, maybe
Should be
like yearn for that.
Well, and TJ Klune did say that the central theme of this book is kindness.
That's for sure. A little on the nose there, TJ. But yeah, I think it's just, you know, and I know that like it's written, so of course you can make people react however you want to as the author. But like I just think that it's like just the way that people talk to each other, the way people handle adversity, the way people handle sort of stress and anxiety, and like, you know, the struggles of being different and being accepted and being a team and a family is just like this is everybody should aspire to be this.
I wish I could read this book multiple times throughout my life, each time for the first time. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wish I could read it over and over again. Like, and the only thing that I remember about the book, like a mind wipe, like let it soak in and then wipe it out of my mind and then remember about the book. Like, oh, if I need to feel something, if I need this reminder about kindness and like whatever, then I need to go read that book.
Yeah.
Hey, you bad cat, eating my headphones cord.
And especially through the vehicle of Linus, who is so like by the book, and he's like, you know, he lives this sort of solitary existence, and everything is sort of spelled out for him in these rules and regulations that he carries around like a Bible. And then for him to have his just his world like upended by these lovable characters, and for him to like let his guard down and sort of open up and like actually like experience the world at the, you know, disdain of extremely upper management, which I love as a title.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah, that was
me
great.
too.
I think it gave me like Daikami gave me like Severance vibes. If y'all anybody has seen Severance, it's like that like stark office where everybody just kind of does what they're supposed to do.
It was very Office spacey, but worse. Like, it was very like Imperial. I don't know if y'all have seen Andor, but like it's very rigid, very cold.
Yeah,
so
no, it
Martin
very
Sheen.
much just felt like a preview of the future.
Yeah, exactly. And this is supposed to be somewhat dystopian, right? Or like
It's supposed to be Orwellian.
Orwellian.
Yeah, the whole
1984.
what, see something, say something
Oh yeah,
kind of thing. Big Brother's watching.
Big Brother. Yeah, the see something, say something, and that's stolen straight from like
Real life.
Real life propaganda, like posters and stuff, probably.
Yeah. And I mean, we can go through all of these characters, and
Well, if we want to talk about the characters, Willa on Discord said, I hope the discussion doesn't ask us to choose a favorite of the children because that would be impossible. So, who was your favorite child?
Chauncey.
Sorry, Willa. I just couldn't help myself.
there it is. Lucas says Chauncey. Who's yours?
Oh.
You've read this book 300 times.
Okay, as a reminder, we got Talia, Theodore
Yes.
the Wyvern, Fee, Sal was the shapeshifter that shifted into the Pomeranian, Chauncey, and Lucy.
I wish we had more of Fee. I don't feel like we got enough Fee in
I
this
will
book.
say, on rereading the book, Fee was the only kid that I had forgotten about.
Yeah, like
So
Fee was
I
Fee was
agree.
there, but Fee, you know, Fee had the interactions with I'm blanking on her name. Zoe. But we didn't really get a lot of Fee and her personality.
I loved all of them.
Well,
Well,
you can't.
people are
You're the
saying
one that
Theodore.
included this.
Y'all are
They're a family.
Theodore was so sweet and Talia was hilarious and Sal, oh my gosh, like he made me so sad But then like his growth and the fact that he's like actually starting to trust was so sweet and wonderful. And the fact that he shapeshifts into a Pomeranian was just the cutest thing in the world.
And y'all have a Pomeranian.
We do have a
Yes, but
Pomeranian.
ours is like 3 times the size of Sal.
Yeah, he's not a 5-pound Pomeranian.
I think the immediate bond, like between Theodore and Linus, really got me.
Yeah.
The buttons.
Yeah, like
And crawling under the couch.
immediate, but like I mean, their first interaction, I knew. I was like, oh, they're gonna use this against me, and I was
they
right.
did. Yeah.
And I will say, I like. There was so much of this book though that also made me laugh out loud, and that isn't as common. I think I've read more books that have made me tear up than actually laugh out loud. And the fact that this one was making me laugh out loud while I was still tearing up, like I lost it when Talia was crying at the end, and she was like, I'm digging your grave. You're gonna go get in that hole. And I don't know why, but like I just was like cackling. I don't know. I think
I think
really needed to read this book.
really, really understated character that's not even on your list. Calliope.
I love Calliope. Yeah.
Calliope.
I love cats. I'm a cat dad.
And
Love
like,
Calliope.
I think somebody mentioned it earlier. Anytime Linus was talking about Calliope, he was like, I asked her to do this. She would not, basically.
I will say
Or
she
she
was
had to show
probably
me her
the most
butthole.
realistic
Her origin story.
out of everyone. From her origin to her personality, out of every single character in this entire book, she was the one that felt very nonfiction to me.
Yeah, no, she just moved in. She's like, and now I live here. Like, this is my house.
Yeah,
Now,
I
Dan
can't choose a
brings
child.
up a good like cop
They're a
out point here.
family.
Each one makes the others better. It's the dynamic of all of them as a group that makes each of them great. And that I agree with that. I think that the way that they hold each other up is
When Lucy
beautiful.
called Sal his brother in the ice cream store, that was another.
yeah. All of the
Moment.
ice cream store and the record store. I loved, was it J Pop or something like that?
Jaber?
J Bop, J.
J something.
It was, and then he was voiced very much like, yeah, little
Yeah.
bro.
man, yeah, bro.
Yeah,
That's how I read it in my
You got
head.
some old stuff in the back, bro.
I loved him and his interaction. Like he just like Lucy showed, he threw Marty against the wall and like knocked him out, and the guy's just like, yeah, that guy was heinous.
Heinous, bro.
Totally fire.
And yeah, that was the record store guy was awesome.
And the lady in the town that
Helen.
she was great.
I love those interactions because I think obviously probably everyone went into the village scenes like holding their breath a little bit. I know I did, of like, great, what's going to happen? And then, expecting it to go like going into the hardware store, and then it like surprised me, and then going into the record store and I was like, and then it started to go there, and then it came back, and then the ice cream shop, and I was like, no, but then Helen came in and saved it, and I was like, it just, yeah. I wish I started to take pictures of every time I hit a favorite quote, and then I was like, there's no point. I've taken like 90 photos now of just pictures of a big whole page, and it's dumb. And
I read it on Kindle, so there were a lot of underlined sentences in the Kindle version. Is it Calliope? I don't know. Calliope.
because it's like
it is
from
Calliope.
because it's from Greek mythology, isn't it?
Mhm.
In the audiobook, it was definitely Calliope.
Calliope, yeah. But we haven't talked about Arthur. I mean, we're talking about the kids. The kids were surely the star of the show, but also Arthur the Phoenix.
Can I throw one? Just don't hate me here.
Uh-oh.
Sometimes
We'll try not to.
I'm gonna push you out of the.
Okay, you can push me. Like sometimes I'm like, this guy's gone through some real heinous stuff, and sometimes it was almost like unbelievable how just like calm and collected, like he never let himself hit any other emotional and like, please don't. Sometimes it like his speeches almost pulled me out in a way because it was very much like, now I'm going to deliver this like perfectly crafted speech all the time, about like whatever it was. It was always like, wow, that was beautiful, but it was almost like this separate little chunk that you could pull out and like put into a motivational book.
I can see that. I think
Like it, but like great character, no doubt. But like to me, there was just like there's one level of Arthur, and it is like the calmest, coolest, collected, most well-spoken person who's also
Oh.
a phoenix in the world.
Really? I feel like he
I
had
don't-
so much rage buried down from his pain.
To me, I didn't.
I think that I see what you're
missed that?
saying. Like there were only like there were like just a few moments where you could see like cracks in his armor. But yes, I think for the most part, like the way he presented himself was that. But like there were moments like I think when he and Linus had one of their initial conversations, and like it almost got a little heated, and he kind of snapped at Linus. And there were
Is that a
times
pun?
he did. I knew as soon as he said the word about like I knew a phoenix once, and I'd love to see how that man turned out or whatever. I was like, it's him.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, and I feel like a lot of those things were kind of predictable, but it didn't take away my enjoyment of the story at all. I was honestly surprised it took Linus so long. But I don't know. For me, I felt like all of that was buried underneath. And also, he went through severe trauma. And I feel like because of where he ended up, and because of that, I feel like a lot of that came out practiced because it was practiced. He probably had to create, I mean, he's quite obviously is like he thought the kids didn't know about him. This whole persona that he's put on, that he's doing to protect the children, to protect who he cares about, to protect himself, because he does have that intense trauma. Like, I feel like a lot of that is coping mechanisms. Like, he's probably every single practice, like perfect poignant thing he said before, he's probably repeated to himself in his head a
Yeah.
The
lot.
way that I pictured Arthur in my mind, and here we go, take a shot, is very Spock like. Like this is a man who has learned over the years to like control his emotions and bury them, and like go with sort of like logic and reason.
That's good.
And so he did remind me a lot of Spock in a way.
He's Professor X.
Well,
I
he's a little
pictured him
Professor
as
X.
like this very like a very tall
check
wisp
your bingo cards.
of a man. Like, I don't know that I ever really fully pictured his face. It was almost like,
But he was
no
kind
pun
of young looking
intended.
too.
To me, he looks like Professor Layton. He's kind of got that calm, cool tone about his voice too.
Well, see, I guess it's different. Like when you read the book, like I don't even hear a voice. So I feel like when you hear someone's voice, you automatically start to picture them.
Yeah,
right. And when you're reading it, I don't do that. I don't often picture people's faces.
And that may have colored your impression of him too, Lucas. If the way that
listening to the audiobook,
Arthur.
I mean, he's very, very posh, very polished, very calm and even toned for the most part.
So that's a really good point, because like when I'm reading it and you get those little moments of like feeling, where it describes there's like a glint, like you either smell like something hot or the room got warm. Those are him like not being able to suppress his emotions, or like seeing that light in his eyes and knowing like, that's the Phoenix.
There's a few moments where you feel like he's kind of gritting his teeth. Like he's doing it through like gritted teeth a little bit. But yeah. What's up?
Another thing from the discussion topics post on Facebook from Adrienne. She said, I love that none of the main characters in the book were bad people. Linus does his job well and as he is supposed to according to the rules. Arthur has reason to distrust bureaucracy and view it as no one in in it truly cares. In the end, they are both wrong, and it's good that they all compromise and change instead of only one person has an awakening and joins the side of all the others. And I like that too. And I didn't think about it until I read your post. Everybody grew and they all kind of came together, and that was really lovely.
Yeah, because I think Linus had an effect on the kids as well. Like it wasn't just a one-way street; it was a two-way street, and they learned to love him.
Well, and everyone that interacted had effects on each other. Like even the kids in the town, like interacting with the mayor and the record store guy. Like you could see everybody growing as they interacted.
Do y'all actually have bingo cards?
I mean, there is a bingo card. Kira made them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, Star Trek, Cyclops, Ghostbusters.
You already did most of
I don't know
those.
if it counts
There
if
you
you
go.
just list them like that.
It needs to be organic.
Yeah.
All right, I'll find a way.
But I mean, you're
You
wearing
already
Ghostbusters
mentioned
shirt, and
3
I'm
of
pretty
them.
sure that's one of them.
We have technically referenced X-Men and Star
It's
Trek.
true.
This is true.
Yes.
So I mentioned when we were talking about the book that I pictured. So like in my head, I started, and it was never intentional, but as we started to see
another one.
Linus step away from like intentionally following this bureaucratic role and starting to blur the lines and form these connections, his voice became Rhys Darby in my head, which y'all have probably all heard his voice and not realized it was him, but he is the New
Yes.
Zealand.
I actually, when I was talking to Christy, I was like, this guy's giving me like major Steve
Bonnet.
Steve
Steve
Bonnet.
Bonnet, yes. So who's played by Rhys Darby, and it's because
Okay, got it.
something about his voice, and yes, Steve Bonnet, where he's like very matter of fact, but very sweet, and I'll consider that. And like I just in my head, he was like Rhys. He was like a not New Zealand version of Rhys Darby, in his delivery. Very sweet and kind of awkward, but a little perfunctory. And I was like, man.
Rhys Darby plays the lead in Our Flag Means Death.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's a charming character.
Also, anytime you've ever heard a cartoon character with a New Zealand accent, it's probably
He does a lot of voice
He's
work.
done so much voice
He
work.
was in with his Flight of the Conchord guys and did some stuff. Done
Literally
some
fist pumped every time Linus got a little sassy.
Oh my gosh, his sassiness cracked me up. Especially like his first report where he just kept he restricted himself to one line per page about how he wasn't given enough information.
Yeah, I love his journey from going from like full on rules and regulations. Oh, I didn't mean to put that on screen, but okay. Full on rules and regulations to full on like down with the man. Like, you know, by the end of it, he's telling the extremely upper management off. He's stealing reports and like using it against them.
Brandy, that's not a bad image. Yeah, I'm not mad about that.
I said that.
Yeah, no, I did that, but I was like, but if Blackbeard were, Blackbeard is very damaged, but in a different way. And I was like, a less violent and blonde, clean shaven, taller. Yeah, no. Yeah.
Where were we?
I forgot what I was gonna say. Just
we were talking about Linus and his reports and getting sassy with his reports.
And the evolution of him being the staunch, like, this is what I do, this is my job, I'm very good at my job.
Oh, I love that his reaction to everything in the beginning, though, was just to scream. Like, they're like, and someone put a hand on his shoulder, and he's screamed.
That frustrated me a little bit. I was a little bit frustrated at that. Like, because, like, sure, like, I get it. Like, you're going into this place where, like, Lucy is the Antichrist and whatever. But, like, I feel like he should have caught on a little bit sooner that they were all just messing with him. Like,
I mean, but he went to an island with the actual Antichrist.
Yeah, but still.
It's not even just that. Like, I just love that every time he spooked, like, it's just a normal human reaction. We've talked about this before. Like, people are like, when you're put in this environment, everyone's like, oh, and now I'm going to be a hero. And we're like, but what's realistic? Okay, you put this man in a situation that he is for the past 17 years. He's been told his whole life that he blends in with the paint. He's been told his whole life that he's nobody, that he's not seen. And then he goes and he sits in the middle of his little group of clones, and he's done this his whole life, and now you're putting him in this brand new environment, and every single time he's startled, he's like, ah! And me too.
I
would too.
I'll just walk through the house and I'll scare her.
Well, you sneak up on me.
I don't know how. I'm 6'2".
I don't
Chris
know
is the
how
one
either.
that
You have a heavy
enjoys
tread.
Scaring people.
I don't do it so much anymore, but yeah. But someone way earlier asked why Linus was so cool with just like following all the rules and regulations before he got to the island. And like what Talia was saying, he's kind of led a real sad life. This is all that he has, and it's the only structure that he has. And like while he doesn't have a family other than Calliope, like this is the social, I guess. Oh gosh.
He never had
Socialization.
one.
So yes, thank you. Socialization that he gets, like
He never had a family. His own mother told him, she was like,
His mom was a jerk.
yeah. I mean, so this is his first family that I hate this book.
What?
It's hard to talk about the book.
That's fun to talk about the book.
Feelings are stupid.
But he did grow so much. Kent said, I liked how Linus broke his own bubble and how he taught the other children to break their own. Willow responded with that and said, same, and also Arthur and some of the townspeople broke out of their bubbles too. People busting out of bubbles all over the place.
Not a burst of bubbles.
It was like what's that movie with Reese Witherspoon where it's like black and
Cruel
white?
Intentions.
Yeah, that's it. No, it's like black and white. She gets zapped into the TV show.
Pleasantville.
It's like Pleasantville. It's got a very like Pleasantville turn the tides, and it's going to take time.
If Pleasantville was dystopian, because this town, not only were they prejudiced AF, but they were being paid. They were being paid by the government to hush.
Well, but I think also when they go into the town, it's not the whole town. It's just some loud individuals. But then
What?
the town?
The town?
Did I?
No, I didn't hear what you said.
What about the town?
It's not the whole town. It was just like some loud individuals.
I thought it was. I thought it was like a blanket. Like if you live here, you're going to be paid to be quiet.
Well, yeah, no, the paying part, but like they all weren't terrible.
They're not terrible, but you know,
I think it very much though was like the mentality of like, no one's gonna speak up though, so we're all just gonna go along. Like, I mean, it took Helen, it took the mayor being like, we're not gonna do this anymore.
Yeah, and I think the mayor had some like regrets for not having gotten involved sooner.
Yeah,
so there was a history there with Arthur.
Yeah.
And Arthur and oh gosh, what's his name? Charles.
Yeah.
Charles, the bad guy.
Well.
Oh yes, and some folks were talking about that relationship and the revenge. So we can only infer, and
yeah, none of that was very clear to me.
It wasn't
honestly.
clear.
Yeah,
but
me either.
There
I
was
was
some
gonna
inference there.
Like, did we figure out why exactly they gave Linus this assignment? Like, what was there was because there had to be like
He asked. Oh no!
Well,
why
he
they
was
gave Linus
because they were like, we send the worst of the best of the worst. It's like the ones that are that like, this is my job and this is what I do. Like
and
they
totally
were sending
detached. Like Linus before going to the island was completely professional at all times. Didn't question anything. Just like follow the rules and regulations and kept those boundaries. And he wasn't able to do that on the island. But I do think that's why he was chosen to do it.
And he'd done it longer than anyone else because they brought it multiple times. They're like, you've never like tried to be like move up in rank or everything. He's like, no, this is my job and I'm good at it. Like he was
But what was-
content and was always very thorough, very detached, and had done it for 17 years.
But what was Charles hoping that he was going to shut them down?
Probably.
What was the intent there? Because there was clearly some like ulterior motive.
I think that they just honestly wanted a perspective on Lucy.
I think Werner was against the idea of giving Arthur the position of school leader. Was out to get him removed as proof that Werner was right all along.
I mean, it was a lot about Arthur and like, yes, the whole thing was set up as an experiment, but also Arthur kind of forced them into it. So like it was his idea to do this and they kind of went along with it. And I think Charles was done. I mean, it was kind of like a weird blackmail situation and maybe he was tired of, I don't know.
Like I
don't really mind that not all of it was fully spelled out for us.
I know that they were using Linus as a pawn because of his ability to like be detached and like not get it, involved in that stuff. Like maybe they thought him as being colder and more, I don't know, strict.
Yeah. Katie asked, what would they have done with the kids if they shut the home down and they would go into one of Dicomy's like government-run schools?
Yes.
Or another home, because we found out like via Sal, they just bounced him around over and over and over again instead of.
Can I just put this out there? If werewolves were Sal, I would be all about that.
Oh my gosh. We were talking about this, in the January's book.
The short stories one.
The short story about the high school like dance or whatever, where the whole high school were werewolves. What if they had all turned into Pomeranians instead?
That'd be funny.
That's my
Or
werewolf
worse.
story. That's the werewolf story I want to read. Is that like they all turn into cute little dogs?
Emily brought it up, and there's been a conversation on Discord about some of the controversy around this book, and I feel like we kind of need to touch on it.
Oh, the 60s scoop inspiration.
The 60s scoop. So there's a really great article that someone linked to on Discord already, and they've already had a great conversation about it. I like highly recommend everybody going to and reading that and just reading the article yourself. But TJ Klune had this idea. He had a fuzzy idea about a story about magical children dealing with fear and discrimination, with the main character being a fussy fellow named Linus, who is a stickler for the rules and a caseworker in a Norwalian world where the government sees all, knows all, and controls everything. He already knew that Linus was going to work for the said government with the bureaucratically gloomy name of the department in charge of magical youth, and just did whatever he needed to. But the idea kind of remained fuzzy until he stumbled across the 60s scoop, which is in Canada, Indigenous children were taken from their homes and families and placed into government-sanctioned facilities, such as residential schools. It's really terrible.
Yeah, it was an awful thing that happened for a long time, right?
Yeah. It wasn't until, it happened. It started in the 1950s and continuing through the 1980s. And you can go read more about it too. But he researched more and discovered instances all over the world of other things like this happening. And he kind of got that final spark of inspiration to finish his book because of that. And there's a lot of outrage that he used something so sensitive and so serious and so terrible to make such a beautifully heartwarming, lovely book. Yeah. So I think a lot of the outrage came when, I think it's 2020 maybe, there was a mass grave that was found in Canada.
That's what Adrienne just said, yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of resurfaced all of this, and he had put out this article like years or a couple of years before saying it, but that's when like the outreach kind of really started. So I just go in knowing that, you know, he got part of his inspiration from something terrible and he made something lovely from it. But
That's really interesting. Like, yeah, I wonder how, like, it's weird. I didn't know any of that. So like finding that out after you've read the book versus if you go into reading the book, knowing that, I wonder how that would change your perception or how you read the book.
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, you know, inspiration, you can find inspiration in a wide variety of places. I'm not sure that like, you know, it's not one of those things where you can say that like TJ Klune liked it and that's why he wanted to write this book. Like, I don't think
he wasn't writing about the 60s scoop. He wasn't writing about these events. It's just something that informed kind of this idea behind this book. And he already had a lot of it kind of fleshed out in his head before he got there. I don't know, everybody, you know, needs to think about it for themselves.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it doesn't feel like he was exploiting that. It's in some ways it almost calls more attention to it to just be aware that these travesties did happen, right? And it's horrible.
I think in this book there absolutely are travesties that are happening, and I think that this book does an excellent job at taking a travesty and showing that it was wrong and that it was like, and that you can find, you know, there's goodness to be found, you know, if we do things this way instead.
Well, I think Linus's end journey shows that, like, this is what can happen when people feel empowered to speak up, right, and speak out against something. And
it's like a wish. Like Giggles, yeah, I was reading this like about The Greatest Showman. Like obviously, like that was about, you know, the beginning of P.T. Barnum, and who was not
a great person.
I was about to say, unlike Hugh Jackman, who's a wonderful person, he was a monster.
Love Hugh.
Yeah, we love Hugh. P.T. Barnum, a big no.
I love Hugh.
It's okay, I do too.
But it's like The Greatest Showman. I know a lot of people didn't watch it for those reasons, for ethical reasons. I went into watching it, seeing it as like, this is a fantastical version of like how we wish something could have been. And so I think the way that makes me look at the book now, it makes it sadder in my opinion, because it makes it even more of a fantasy somehow. Like it was obviously already a fantasy, but it's like if someone could make a wish of like, if a story could have had a happy ending, this is what I would have wished for. And obviously that's like a very weird comparison to make.
No, I think that works.
This is so fake, and that was something very real that happened. But I mean, isn't that what fantasy is?
Yeah.
Like what something you could have hoped for that we're not getting.
Yeah. Bobby's comment. Y'all just love talking about X-Men.
There's also so many similarities between this book and X-Men. And
well, I mean, wasn't the Holocaust? Like, I mean, I know they pulled it into the story, but that's the actual inspiration for X-Men.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, they talked about that.
Yeah. X-Men is all about, you know, marginalizing and trying to control a group of people that are different. And so is this one. But I think this book, you know, I don't think it takes anything away from this book to know sort of what inspired his writing. I think that it maybe adds a layer, like Talia was saying, of sadness. And I think that was a really good way of putting it. It's like, you know, what the brain tries to do, you know, sometimes in the face of horrific things, is it wish it has that like wish for a better outcome or like a happier outcome. There's probably movies like that. There are probably movies about that.
Well, and TJ Klune in the same article, I mean, he acknowledged the privilege that he has as like a white man in his 30s in America. He is queer, but and he has even said like the marginalization he has felt from that throughout his life it doesn't compare in any way to anything that he's read about or that he's even writing about in this book for the kids. And he really did try to approach the whole story very carefully and try to tell it in like the best way that he could. And like he said, his central theme is kindness. And I think that this book oozes kindness.
It sure does. And that brings us full circle back to like everybody should learn from this book. This is how everybody should be around everybody, is nice and
I
like
think
accepting.
I'd feel differently if like the government organization was portrayed in a positive light, or like, you know, at the end they were like, well, they were trying to do their best, you know, and like I feel like more it was like, let's expose things for what they really are and hope for change, but also know that it comes from the people actually making the effort.
Yeah.
And I think and someone in the comments said that it would be different if someone went and learned about this and then was inspired from that to create this story. But that wasn't his process. And if anything, it makes me want to go read more. And like you said, yeah, it shines a light on it because I didn't know about that.
I did not know
I also
that at all.
was not aware of this thing.
Yeah.
Which is something that I guess people should be more aware of happens, right? We know about history, so we don't repeat it.
Yeah.
And if you want, so again, I know Christy referenced Discord, so we have a channel for the book, so you can go right into that channel on Discord, and it's only discussion on that book. So, yeah.
Anything else? Any others? The central theme is kindness,
and we all liked it for the most part. So I think group consensus.
Well, even if not, I think
be excellent to each other.
Yes.
Party
Adam,
on,
you
dude.
should
Oh yeah, you
the
should
cover.
show
Talk
Oh,
about the cover.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, Adam,
So
Lucas, you talk
so
about
I
the cover.
shared
Adam, you show the
I shared
video.
our story on Instagram, and I had a friend reach out saying, "Oh my God, I love this book. Chauncey is life." You know, like just silly. And
What
she's
a
like,
maxim
"Did
has
you
this real
know that the cover was actually paper craft? Like so all of his covers are actually 3D dioramas." And then they take a picture of it, which I was just like, "Oh my gosh."
It's
Look
This
at
is
how
the
awesome that
actual
is.
cover of the book.
That's the actual model that they used for the cover.
wow.
Isn't
that crazy?
is insane.
That's
It's
really cool.
beautiful.
Thanks so much for telling us about that, Lucas.
Yeah, no, I thank my friend Julia. So
Look at that.
Wow. That's
Isn't that
where,
crazy?
That's
Look
where
at the little
Theodore
windows, yeah.
lives.
super cute.
Yeah, there it is.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Very cool.
Neat.
Let's do this one.
This
I
one?
wanna print that.
Did
Yeah.
Well, the story ended on a happy ending for these particular characters. Also, how the fight was just starting and would probably be a hard fight. Basically, it says to use your voice for the betterment of everyone, no matter how hopeless it may seem.
Yeah. Let's see.
That's good.
One
That's
of the
good.
things from his article said, we, like Linus discovers, needs to use our voice for those who can't speak for themselves, those who should be allowed to be small in this great wide world. But sometimes we also need to shut up and listen to those small voices, because if we don't, we run the risk of drowning them out.
And Christy, remind the group and me, there's one other book in this series?
No, there's
No,
like,
it's just a different. So this
there's-
is the only story.
yes. So Under
Okay.
the Whispering Door, I saw someone post, and I'm sure this is what you're thinking about, that they're like oh gosh, companion books kind of, but
Okay.
I don't think they're in the same world. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they're definitely not part of a series. They're both standalone.
Okay.
And
'cause
the
I-
other
yeah, I
book is, the other book is Under the Whispering Door.
Death is only their beginning is the
I do want to read it now.
Death is but a door. Time is but a window. I'll be back. Famous last words of Vigo the Carpathian from Ghostbusters 2.
There it is. Stamp that. Bingo. Although you had a Ghostbusters shirt on the whole time, so
Yeah. Let's see what Julie says. This book isn't written from an apologist point of view for what happened with the 60s scoop, so I don't see a reason to hold the fact that the author was informed by actual history and is writing the fictional story against him. That's a good take.
Do Adrian's.
They are standalone, but TJ views them as bookending similar concepts, or so he said. TJ.
Oh yeah, because you met him. It was like, oh, we had drinks together.
Totally different story. It's also excellent, a bit darker, but still so stinking excellent.
Ooh, and
And-
Randa says that he has a new one coming out this year. So
Yeah, that's
exciting.
what is that Willa's right above it. In the Lives of Puppets comes out in April. Is that what it is? So
That's right up your alley.
Interesting.
I love a
Puppets.
good
You love
puppet.
puppets.
Love a good puppet.
Well, in conclusion, I want to live in this book a little bit longer. I want to feel the feels that it gave me for just so. I want to hold on to it, and I do think it.
Read it again, but like slower and like mind wipe myself.
You should listen
first.
to it.
That's a great idea.
You also-
Actually,
again, if you read it,
consume it in a different format.
Listen to it. If you listen to it, read it next time. And
I do think
you
this is
might-
one of those things, like we said earlier, is worth revisiting, just for the reminder.
Well,
Because
also at different times in your life, you're going to get different things out of it.
a Chauncey spinoff,
Yeah, I totally want a Chauncey spinoff.
It will literally just be about
bellhops.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, yeah, he got the job he wanted. He's real great at it. And
Oh, this would be a
it.
great Pixar movie.
Oh my gosh, it would be.
Hey Adam, can you pull up Discord really quickly and just
I
show
sure can.
people where the channels are?
I sure can. Give me half a second. Oh, it's been too long.
Lucas,
There you go,
got-
Sean. Yeah,
you got
this is a
Sean.
great audiobook.
It really is good.
And we have some new moderators in Discord too.
Oh, yeah.
You might know some of them. So thank
Oh
you.
yeah, so Discord is about to pop off. We've got here's Discord. This is what it looks like. You have the Literally Wasted channel, and then underneath, or the server, and underneath the server, we've got, these are the channels we have so far. So we've got a general channel, which is where most of the discussion has been happening. And then we've got one for the House in the Cerulean Sea, and then a new one for Hyperion, which are our next book. And then we've got Dark Book Club here, which I personally have hidden at the moment because I don't want to see scary stuff. But it's here. But we have three moderators. We have Dan, Leanne, and Brandy, who are going to be helping us out on Discord. They're going to be help building it out. You should now have permission to create channels, moderators. So show them some love. They've got this name in this yellowish color.
Yeah, it's
Yellow. I knew that. And so yeah. So we've got, go into the, if you go into the general channel and then type something, we'll see it. We'll see it happen live. Right now we're talking about card games, and I'm talking about Star Realms because Star Realms is amazing.
Okay, so stay focused. It is amazing, but stay
It's
focused.
an amazing game. Anyway, that's
But yeah,
Discord.
if you want to go start talking about Hyperion, I started a thread. You can jump in there because I definitely saw that it was a 20-hour audiobook. And so I went for a walk today and I started listening to the book.
I promised to start reading it sooner than the day before the
Does that
discussion.
look like a tiny book? Is that a tiny book?
Okay, here it is. So yes, this is the mass market paperback. So it is very small, but then you open it and you're like, font.
Oh no.
Yeah. So this one's gonna take,
It's giving me some
like full disclosure, it's so fresh because I started reading this before I went to bed last night, and then finished, like 30 minutes before the stream, 40 minutes before the stream, and then this one is, I'm gonna have to start like the weekend before.
Yeah, and Leanne, show the people how to use spoiler tags because I forget. I
We're gonna-
forget.
I don't know.
It's like a
I think we're-
backslash. I
I
don't
think
know.
we'll probably create some sort of like information channel that just has a bunch of like, this is how to do this and this and this, and these are the rules of the whatever you do. Yeah, so you can probably go in there and but yeah, spoiler tags.
The mass market paperback, for who just asked, I saw it, Randa, is $482. Well, those first 2 pages don't count. Like 480 pages.
Yeah, and it is
With-
very like it's putting off some Dune
it's
vibes
little.
early on. Like there's but
Nice.
it's
This is
cool. It's
You don't have
this
to
is
read
a
it like
classic.
that.
This is kind of a classic book, right? Like 80s.
yeah, and it won a
Edward.
Hugo it's a Hugo Award winning novel.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said that like that.
And for March, we're gonna try again doing just one live discussion for the whole book, and that's sometime at the end of March.
Yes.
It's actually the 4th. Okay, it's the 4th Wednesday because there are 5 Wednesdays in March. There are 5 Wednesdays in March, but the last one is spring break for a lot of people, including us. We'll be here. So once again, it will be. Oh my gosh! It will be on the Tuesday again. So
Yeah.
the
Woo!
book discussion
Love
will
it.
be on the 22nd.
And
Love
Jennifer asked, how is the audiobook? It is very highly produced. It is not just one narrator. There is like a main narrator, and I think it's a cast of like 6 different people reading.
Oh, that's
So
good.
it is very well done and very highly produced. So I don't know really what's going on yet, but I'm halfway almost through the first, and there's sections, y'all. So it's like section 1 is 4 hours long just for that. There are no breaks.
Wow.
It's just like a 4-hour chunk.
Oh.
That's
So
a marathon.
Get ready, start early, because I know I am.
So what we're going to do in March is similar to what we did in February. So the 22nd, the Tuesday will be our live discussion for Hyperion. But before that,
The 8th.
on the 8th, will be another hangout, fun time, talk show, literarily wasted. We're going to figure out something to call it.
Ooh,
But
we should make a hangout channel in Discord, and y'all can throw out ideas of what you want to do.
yeah. So I don't if you were on the last one, thanks for being there. We had a little bit of like proto segments where we're like, what you reading and that kind of stuff. We want to do more of that kind of stuff. And just have fun things to do where we can hang out and don't necessarily have to talk about a book in particular, because we want a place where everybody can go that may not have read the book, but we still want y'all to be involved and like hang out with us and talk to us about books and stuff. So that's going to be on March 8th. We're going to do another one of those hangout, fun time, live stream somethings.
It's called a club meeting.
That's kind of a weird name, though. We'll
No, it's a
workshop it.
book
It's a
club.
book club. It's a
It's
club
a
meeting.
book club.
Meeting sounds so formal.
No,
Where?
just say no. It's a book club. So the first meeting of the second Wednesday of the month is the club meeting, and then 2 weeks later is the book discussion.
The Lit Wasted pregame. We'll workshop it.
We'll workshop it. We
TBD.
don't have to come up with it today.
The
I'm just gonna do it like
pregame
this.
club
It's a
meeting.
club meeting.
It
Club meeting.
reminds me of like the He-Man Woman Haters Club. I mean, it's like the club, like Little Rascals have a clubhouse, and they all go, and it's like silly.
This is our
you know.
clubhouse.
Yeah,
it's
listen
the
to Willa.
clubhouse. What did Willa say?
I'll make Talia get her shovel.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start
see,
carrying a trowel.
We're already getting
around.
rave reviews for the hangout.
For the
From-
one.
Like
from
club
Lisa.
meeting.
It was great. Yeah, I love
I
that.
forgot how to blink now. My eye feels
The
weird.
hangout was fun. I think it's not necessary, but a needed, like, just breakup of the formula for me personally. So I'm a
It honestly helped me read this book because I will say sometimes for me, it's hard for me to get the pacing down of like, I have to read half the book and then stop and then wait a little bit and read the next half of the book. So yeah, no, it was
so
fun.
We're trying new things.
fun,
We're
it's
having
fun.
fun. We're building out Discord. Discord is another place for everybody to hang out. And if you're not familiar with Discord, it can be kind of daunting, but
it is
just-
daunting.
there's a lot of people who will be glad to help you and initiate you into Discord. So
Like Cal says, don't be
yeah.
afraid to try new things.
And if y'all want to post the link to the Discord invite, everybody's invited. Everybody's
free.
invited.
It's
free. You
free.
can get it
Oh
on
man,
your
we
phone.
love free stuff.
Oh God, we love free stuff.
Love free stuff.
Wow, you guys.
Love free stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
This
Well-
book club is free. Discord is free.
Here we go.
Cracks
Cracks
toe
toe
knuckles.
What is that? I don't even want to know what that's in
Crack my toe
response
knuckles
to.
now.
Okay. Well, that about does it.
And happy
for
birthday
us.
again, Leanne.
Happy birthday, Leanne.
Happy birthday, Leanne!
Thank you for running Dark Book Club. I know
Yes.
you've got your dark
And
book
thank
club
you
people.
for not making me read scary books.
And thank you for moderating the Discord along with
Yeah.
Dan and Brandy. We appreciate you
Yeah,
much.
appreciate y'all very much.
And have a good night, everybody. See you on the 8th.
Ooh.
Bye.